Welcome back to the Lawyer Diaries. I am Becca Rodriguez, and I'm co-founder of Redwood Legal Search, co-host of this here beautiful podcast. And I'm here with Erica, my co-founder and co-host. How are you, Erica?
Doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's the week before, I guess, Halloween celebrations, which
Yes.
is odd. I was talking to friends this weekend because we have a party, and I was like, why are all the parties this weekend and not next weekend because Halloween's next Friday? And they explained to me that once Halloween's over, no one's going to a party, you know?
That's true. That's true. You can celebrate something before it happens, but once it happens, all the momentum's gone. Like you can't celebrate afterwards.
Yeah. And people don't want to do like a Friday night party, which,
But
like,
I
I'm
feel like a
sorry, I
Friday
love a
party,
Friday night event.
like that's like I was looking and I was like, wow, Halloween's actually on a really good day this year. Like
That's
Friday
literally
night
my
is
thought.
literally when I feel like I have to celebrate the week being over.
Yeah, I love a Friday event because
Yeah.
Saturday night, it's like, ugh, then I wake up and it's Sunday and I'm hungover. Like, that's
And you only
terrible.
have one day to recover.
Yeah.
So true. I mean, it's been so long since Halloween was on a Friday night, and I'm excited.
Yeah. Are you doing anything?
Not that I know of. Our old neighborhood is having a block party, which is always really fun. I don't know. It might be this weekend though. And like they like go all out for it, so that might be fun. We've been celebrating Halloween kind of like every week so far. Not like party parties, but there's this place called Filoli and they have this really nice they decorated the whole thing for Halloween. It's like really hard to get tickets. And we did that last week. I want to say like last Tuesday or something because we couldn't get tickets for the weekend. And then this past weekend there was this really cool immersive experience we did in San Francisco. And I forgot what it was called, but it was in this thing that was like transformed into a 30s hotel. And it's 20 people at a time. And you have all these actors, and each room is like kind of a different storyline. And the whole thing is like you're in this hotel, you're a guest, and now you're trapped there forever. And they're going to do like a sacrifice of you at the end. And then once you make it through, there's a bar and it's
Was
all
that
decorated.
fun?
It was fun. It was, like, really scary.
Oh,
I
really?
realized I'm a wimp. It was considered, like, medium level in terms of fear, but, like, they really force you to be involved. Like, they get up to you and
Oh.
will, like, scream their lines at you, and, like, you really have to be involved. Um, so that was kind of horrifying. Luckily, I didn't get singled out for anything, so, like, I'm really happy about that. But and there was this one part where we had to, like, crawl through this tiny little space to get to the next room, and someone, like, had a cat hand out, and they were, like, petting us as we walked through the space, which I hated. I hated that so much. I was like, "No, no, don't touch me."
Uh-huh.
But, like, I don't know, I've been telling my husband I wanna go to, a haunted house or haunted mansion, but, like, now I'm realizing I probably can't handle it. So, yeah, it was good, but scary, but very, very well done. Like, the actors were amazing. So I'm glad we did it. I would do it again now that I understand it, but it was scarier than I thought it would be.
Wow, interesting. Have you ever been to, like, the Macbeth thing in New York City?
No, have you?
Yeah, it's like it sounds kind of like that, but it's, like, supposed to be like a play. It's like there's actors and stuff, but you, like, walk around and it's, like, spooky and there's, like, different rooms and stuff. That just
That sounds a
reminded me.
lot like this. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. I love Halloween, and then we've done no Halloween things yet. We are going to a party on Saturday, and we don't have costumes yet.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
do you have any
Oh, that's
ideas?
something you and I were talking about. Last year, Luke and I, one costume that I like thought was really funny is I dressed up like a little devil demon type thing, and he dressed up like a cardinal. So it was like, godly and then devilish. So that was kind of fun. So you could do something like that. That's a good couple's costume with your husband.
Yeah. We've actually never done a couple's costume, so I do think that would be fun. Um,
What is your proudest costume?
I was Elwood's in law school.
Classic.
That obvious, of course. And then I also actually did Olivia Rodrigo a couple years ago, and I thought I did it pretty well.
I've definitely seen that picture on your Instagram.
Yeah, yeah.
It was like the cover of her, like,
Yeah,
album.
of Sour.
Yeah. So
That was
good.
fun.
So
So, but
good.
I do like to do things that are, like, kinda, like, of the time. So, one
Yeah.
some ideas I had were, like, Dubai chocolate or a
Ooh.
Labubu, but we'll see.
Okay, I feel like you should be like the Coca-Cola Labubu.
Oh
Like,
my
I feel
god,
like
that's
that would
so
be really
cute.
good.
I love Coca-Cola.
Yeah, yeah. I, this weekend, just bought the fake version of it.
You
'Cause
bought the fake
yeah,
Coke
I
Labubu?
know for sure it wasn't real. I just,
That's
like,
so funny.
I bought it, because it was just at some stand that I passed by in San Francisco, and it was, like, 15 bucks, and I was like, "Yeah, like, okay, whatever." And Luke was like, "Just get it because it's 15 bucks. If it's real, great. If it's fake, who cares? And you don't have a fake Labubu." So I bought it, and then I was comparing it. I do have one real one, which I'm so proud of. And yeah, you can just tell, like, it doesn't look right. It does not look right. Like, the face is kinda, like, screwed up looking. It's still really cute, but I do like the Coca-Cola Labubu. Like, I feel like that's a fun vibe.
Yeah, she's cute. Okay, so if you have any ideas on what I should be for Halloween and you happen to listen to this podcast before Saturday, please drop a comment. But to get to our regularly scheduled programming, today we are talking interviews and what are some common mistakes that we see candidates make. Um, don't feel bad about it because these are common. But they're just small things that you can really do to just ensure that you have the best possible shot when you're
Mhm.
interviewing for a lateral position. So
Right.
I think the first point we wanted to make is kind of a mindset thing when you're going into the interview. And it's that at the screener and probably first and even second round stage, the interview is not about what the firm can do for you, it's about what you can do for the firm. And if you think
Mhm.
about the economics of it a little bit, the last time you interviewed for OCI or, now OCI is gone, but when you're interviewing for a summer associate position, firms have a set number of summer associate roles and openings that they secure or save for their incoming first year class, right? And those openings aren't necessarily tied to specific departments, even because they know people will shake out differently. They don't know exactly what they want to do yet. So the openings aren't really necessarily tied to a specific business need. A lateral opening it's for a specific team. It might be for a specific case, a specific group, a specific partner. How many times can I say specific? The point being that they want you to fill a role. You're not just like, oh, an associate who can come in and kind of figure out, oh, I kind of want to dabble in this. I kind of want to dabble in that. Am I going to be mentored? Am I going to be whatever? No, like the interview is for you to prove to them, hey, I'm very competent. I have these skills. I can play nice with your team. I'm going to fit in. And that's what you have to prove to them. And then once you get an offer, you can get all your questions answered about training and mentorship and the firm policies in terms of billables and all those questions that you obviously want answered. But you have to go in with the mindset of like, I'm selling myself for this position to this firm.
Mhm. Right. And I think, at the end of the day, it really makes sense. A firm is a business. They want to make sure that anyone they bring in is going to be profitable. Lateral associates, there generally is a little bit of time where you have to get up to speed. Obviously there's some trainings you're probably going to have to go to. But if trainings are the first thing in your mind and you're thinking about it so much that you bring it up during your screener, that gives the impression that you're not going to be plug and play, that, we're hiring a mid-level. Why is this person so focused on training? You really want to give the impression that you're a competent, most likely mid-level or senior associate. While we've worked with a lot of junior associates and we do see roles for junior associates, they are definitely far more rare, and firms are looking for people who are at that mid-level point, people that you're not going to be an expert yet, but you should have some foundational skills and be able to get started and be a valuable asset to the team without too much hand holding at that point in your career. Um, so I think, while of course firms sell the trainings that they do provide because it's something that they invest in for their associates and it's part of what they sell to get associates to go there and work for them, what they wanna see is that you are going to be valuable and profitable for them at the interview stage. Now, they might bring up their fantastic trainings during the interview, and at that point, you can be interested, you can ask some follow-up questions, but we caution, unless someone brings it up, you should really focus the interview on what you can do for the firm and less on what the firm can do for you.
Yeah. There's also like a bit of a mindset shift too. We've had now a couple of associates not really understanding that they're not juniors at a certain level. So truly once you become a third year, you are a mid-level. I mean, the lifespan of an associate is pretty short, right? Because you either make partner, 7, 8, 9, 10, or you're out. Like, so your lifespan isn't very short. By the third year, you are mid-level. You might be labeled a managing associate at your firm. And a mid-level is not, even though you might feel like, oh, I don't know anything and I need to learn more and I need to be trained. That's not what you want to present to the firm because they're not going to
Right.
treat you that way.
And if you are a third year and you feel like, wow, I have not learned much at all, I don't feel very competent, well, then you should be having a conversation with a recruiter or with an expert in the field who can really advise you, because you do not want to go to interviews as a mid-level and not have those skills, because they're gonna be able to tell, because they're gonna ask you some questions about your technical expertise, and if you're way off from what they expect for a third year, that's something that is a red flag. I mean, is this person not getting enough work? Does this person have the reps? If I hire this person, are they going to be able to perform as a mid level? Or are they, a first year associate who is being paid as a third year associate right now? Those are red flags. So attorneys who are successful in this line of work, if they are realizing and they are really thinking strategically about their careers and realizing they are not getting the reps they need early in their career and they are becoming stunted because of that, the earlier you lateral or the earlier you make changes to how you approach getting work and learning and progressing, the better off you will be, because it's very hard to sell fake experience. I mean, people can tell if you've done the work.
Absolutely. But like to counter that point, if you have like don't underestimate the experience you do have, right? So if you don't have experience, they're gonna smell that, immediately in a screener. But we often meet with candidates who do have experience, but like when you're junior, you just feel like you're still learning every single day. And like you and I can relate to that. Like I felt like I didn't know squat, but you actually do. And you have had, if you are at a firm and you've been getting enough work, you probably have more experience than you think. So don't sell yourself short on that front.
That is such an important thing to highlight. We have met with many associates. I mean, we meet with like a wide range, but there's definitely one bucket of associates where we get to talk to them. And initially they tell us, oh, I feel I haven't done that much. But we can kind of tell from talking to them, they're extremely intelligent, very easy to talk to. I feel, and generally Beck and we have very good intuitions with this. If I was a supervising attorney, I would be giving them work because they're so easy to talk to and clearly very competent. And we start talking to this associate, and what we realize is the problem is not that they haven't done enough work. They are perfectly they have just as much experience as they should at that level. The problem is more of a confidence issue that for some whatever reason, they feel like they're not performing at the level they should. And I think for those associates, it is so important during interviews to sell yourself and just be honest about your experience. Because the truth is, when we look at your resume and when we start talking to you, we realize you've done so many more different types of transactions or taken a role in so many more litigation matters that you even realize. And you have really good experience that you can sell. And don't sell yourself short during the interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're going to turn around and say the opposite. Just kidding. But we're going to turn around and say, don't be too confident. That's your second big piece of advice, right? So there's a difference between obviously, having confidence in your abilities and in yourself and being able to sell yourself. I mean, that's why we call it an elevator pitch and we say you got to sell your skills to the firm. When we say don't be too confident, we just mean be prepared. Be prepared and don't think that because you did a screener 3 years ago to get your summer associate role, that this is going to be a walk in the park because it's a 30-minute Zoom call.
Right. Yeah, I think this is a really important point, and it's important because the associates that fall in this bucket, they have worked really hard to get their resume to reflect everything they could want. Like they are definitely sellable, and that's why they have this screener interview with the top firm. But in order to get to the callback, you still have to be on your A game for that screener. Like just because you've gotten to the screener, there is no guarantee that you are now going to get to your callback. Otherwise, there would be no screener, right? There would be no point. Um, so I would say one bucket of associates are folks who have great resumes, who are at the point where they are now doing a screener interview and they have made the mistake of not preparing properly for that screener interview. And if you are working with a good recruiter, a top recruiter, they will prep you as much as they can for that interview, but you are only going to get as much as you put in to that prep call. I mean, if you are not taking what they are saying, writing notes, bettering your responses, putting in the work, then it doesn't matter how much they help you. It's not going to go anywhere. You really need to be putting in the work, taking this seriously, and go into that screener interview and the callback interview, every interview, very, very well prepared. And it's, for obvious reasons, and it may not be so obvious, I think, for associates because their only experience are those summer associate roles and the screening interviews for those, which are very, very different from when you are now coming in as second, third, fourth, fifth year associate who is now expected to be profitable. Um, you really want to show to your interviewer that I can prepare for an interview just like how I would prepare for a client meeting or any other work task, and I'm highly competent, I've done my research, and I'm interested in this role.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember, at least when I went through OCI, like this person you do your screener with, has nothing to do usually with the practice group that you even want to be in. Whereas when you're lateraling, usually the screener is a partner or someone who you're going to work for, right?
Mhm.
So when we say be prepared, I mean, I don't know, this might not be obvious, but you should have researched who you're talking to. Callbacks, memorize names. Screener, memorize who you're talking to, their background. What does their practice focus on? What are some big cases that they've worked on or deals that they've done? What is their educational background, their employment background? What are any points of connection that I might have with this person? What leadership roles do they have in the firm? Are they head of the corporate practice? Are they, co chair of the hiring committee? All of these things you need to know before the interview. not even morning of, like, please look at it the day before at the
At
latest.
least.
Um,
Yeah.
and practice your responses out loud. We said this in another, podcast episode, but it's so, so key. You should just practice talking out loud, record yourself, do it in front of a friend. I mean, it might feel like overkill because you're sure you know exactly what you wanna say. Just say it out loud. These things really do help.
Exactly, and I think it's helpful to view a screening interview or any interview almost as a presentation someone might give for work. You cannot go into a client presentation or a presentation to law firm partners and give the presentation with 0 practice. I mean, and if you do, it's probably not gonna be great. Even top executives at Fortune 500 companies, they are practicing presentations even if they are an extremely skilled presenter. So that's why we always tell our candidates that they need to practice their responses out loud, especially if they haven't done an interview in more than a year, because it is so different when you practice it out loud, record yourself, or practice it to your roommate, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your parents, because until you say it out loud, you're not really clear if it's a good response, quite frankly. Um, so practice, 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 go in prepared, and do not underestimate how important your preparation and performance for the screener is, because you can have the most perfect resume if you are not well prepared. It can really, really hurt your chances of moving on to the next step of the process.
Absolutely. And this is an employer's market right now as we record this episode. So you want to get as many offers as you can, and time will not be wasted taking each and every screener as seriously as you possibly can. And if you listen to our other episodes as well, we give some really good tips besides just researching who you're going to talk to and the firm in general, having those stories in your back pocket of experiences that you've had that you can pull out to use to respond to behavioral questions is key as well.
Another thing I just wanted to mention about preparing is I think a lot of people, when you all the only experience you have to think back to for interviews is when you were looking for a summer associate role. Um a lot of the big firms, when they're hiring for summer associates, it's, they're hiring 50 summer associates, 60, 150, depending on the size of the firm, the size of the office, 20, 15. When you're looking for a lateral role, oftentimes it's a search for one specific person. So, of course, when you're one of 50 versus one of one, the standards are different for how hard you have to sell yourself during the screener. So I think like thinking about things that way can be helpful, because maybe if you didn't prepare very hard for summer associate roles and interviewing for that, it's a different game when you are looking to lateral as a mid-level or even a junior associate.
Yeah, totally. Our last piece of advice, which I think was also on our other episode, is don't get flustered. But it's just very common. It's very common. You are in the middle of a screener, an interview, and you feel like it's not going well, or they ask you a tough question and then they didn't like your answer, so they double down on that tough question. It's so easy to get flustered, right? And we have a couple tips for this. I mean, I think one thing to remember is just because you feel like the interview is not going well doesn't mean it's not going well. And just because it might not feel like a normal back and forth conversation. The person isn't super warm and fuzzy, and they're not giving you kind of like affirming feedback throughout the interview. Doesn't mean that you won't progress to the next round. It doesn't mean that they don't like you or that they won't have good feedback.
Exactly, and I think, it can be really easy to get thrown off guard and flustered if an interview's not going how you envisioned it. But I think also, like, you never really know what the interviewer is going through or experiencing that day. And they might be a really bad day for them. They might be really busy, and that's why they seem so distracted during your interview. And if you do work at the firm, there are going to be days when the partner you're working with it's gonna have they're gonna have 30 other things on their mind, and they might be abrasive when you talk to them. So, I think the best thing to do is try to stay as calm and collected as you can during those moments. Try your best not to be flustered, even though, of course, it's much harder said than done. And if it's a two-part screener where you have another screener right after, or if it's in the callback and you're talking to one person who seems very distracted and it's a little confusing and you have someone else coming up right after, collect yourself. And even if you didn't have the best experience with one person, you really want to come into that next conversation 10 out of 10, well prepared, calm and collected, and give that next person your all.
Yeah, exactly. That's great advice. And you're not going to love everyone too. And I think something Erica said, you know, you might be getting a bad vibe. Like, let's say it's not just like, oh, they're distracted. Like, you're getting the vibe in the conversation. Like, this isn't someone I want to work with. That's valid. Put that in your back pocket though, and just keep acting like you want the job. Keep keep it going, keep performing at, at a top level. Stay calm. And then afterwards you can reflect like, "Huh, maybe I didn't love what they said about whatever." I would encourage you to maybe you just reflect on the concrete answers and not necessarily like the delivery or something, unless this is someone like this is, the partner that is hiring for this team and you have to work with this partner and you just like didn't gel. I mean, obviously that's important information to consider.
Mhm.
But I would say sometimes like in an interview setting, you might not be getting a person at their best or like at their most like relaxed. So it might be worth having more conversations with the team after you get the offer.
Mhm.
So don't be too like hard on your performance or like hard on the firm as well.
Right. And, if someone comes across as abrasive or they're asking really tough questions and you're kind of getting the sense, oh no, I'm not doing very well. I prepared really hard, but wasn't expecting this level of scrutiny. You, one, get to know the person better if you get an offer and you're serious about the firm. That's for sure. But two, there are some people, and the firm may know this, who are just really hard interviewers and they may be hard on everyone they interview. So, you are getting them for 20, 30 minutes. You've never met them before. So you don't really know what the background is. And it doesn't do you a service to get flustered and let it derail your ability to perform well in the next 30-minute interview right afterwards. So I think that's really important. Like, just try to stay as objective and try not to take things too personally when they happen.
Yeah. Well, I don't have anything else to add. I think that's all we have for today. If you have any questions about interviews, obviously feel free to drop it in the comments or shoot us an email. We're always happy to hear from you guys. Till next time.